Hello everyone, today I'll be teaching you how to achieve a simple ball dress for kids which can be used for any occasion, for party, birthdays, church. It's easy to achieve and you can as well replicate this design. Before the tutorial commences, let me introduce myself. I'm Gift God's Time by name. If you're new to this channel, you are welcome. And to all my returning subscribers, thank you for your support always. These are the materials I will be using for this project. Firstly, I'm going to be using 1 yard of this brocade fabric. It is so beautiful. Next, I'm going to be using 1.5 yard of this doll face satin for my lining parts. I'll be using this Mikado fabric for the band at the back to create that bow you see on the dress. And lastly, I'm going to be using my 2 nets of 8 yards. This 2 net is not that hard and it's not that soft as well. It's in between. I'll be using this crinoline as well. And I'll be using this velvet ribbon to give that beautiful bow in front. And lastly, I'll be using my matching zip. So firstly, I have my starting line. Next, I'm going to be imputing my neck width, which is 3 inches, and the depth as well is 3 inches. And I'm going to connect it with my curve rule to give me a U-shape neckline. Next, I'm going to be imputing my shoulder measurements, divide by 2. I'm going to go down by 1/2 inch for the shoulder slant, and I'm going to connect it to the neck region. The next step for me is to take my armhole depth. After getting the value, I'm going to connect it with a straight rule till I get till that shoulder slant. What I'm doing here is just to make sure that it aligns with my shoulder measurement as well. So I'm going to extend the line for this armhole. Next, I'm going to take my bust measurement, divide by 4 and get the value over there. What I'm doing next, I'm adding 1 inch for my allowance. Now I'm going to be taking my shoulder to my waist measurements. This is for a 5-year-old child, so shoulder to waist is 10 inches. So after doing that, I'm going to connect it with a straight rule. Next, I'm going to also take my waist measurement, divide by 2. Waist measurement divide by 4. Whatever value I get, I'm going to indicate it in. That extra 1 I'm giving is my allowance. Next, I'm going to be adding 1/2 inch allowance to the waist region, and I'm also going to indicate it as well. Now I'm going to take the midpoint of the armhole, and then I'm going to come in by that metal part. I'm not going to reach 1/2 inch because this is for a child. So this is for the front bodice. So this is how the armhole in front ought to be. So next, I'm going to cut it off, and then this is our front pattern, which is on fold. This part is on fold. So when you're cutting it on your fabric, which I have done, I cut it on fold. So by the time I open it up, this is how it looks like. Now I'll proceed to cut out the back bodice. So I've gone ahead to draw gave allowance for the zip part and also draw my starting line. So the difference between the back and the front is the armhole, the zip part, and the neckline region. That is the difference between the back and the front. So what I'm doing, I'm taking my neck width, which is 3 inches, and the depth is 1 inch. That is the difference. So I'm going to extend it to my zipper part. Next, I'm going to take my shoulder measurement. Now I'm going to go down by 1/2 inch and then connect it to the neck region the same way I did for the front. I'm going to take my armhole depth and then connect it with a straight rule. Next, I'm going to be marking my bust measurement, divide by 4. Then I'm going to be adding 1 inch allowance. Next, I'm going to take my shoulder to waist region, which is 10 inches. And then I'm going to draw a horizontal line across it. Next, I'm going to also add my 1/2 inch allowance at the down part of it, the same way I did for the front. Now I'll be connecting my bust line and my waist measurement with a straight rule, and then I'm going to be indicating the allowance which I left both at the side and the hem part. Now for the armhole, You are not going to go inward by ½ inch from that midpoint. You're just going to connect it, as you can see from the video. Next, I'm going to proceed to cut out this pattern. So this is our back pattern. You're going to cut it in two. So you have both for the left and the back part and the right part of the back. So this is it. I've also gone ahead to cut out the same thing, both the front and the back, for my lining. Next, I'm going to join the lining first. I'll be joining the lining first, only at the side. That is where I'll be joining. Now I will show you how to cut the band, how to make the band that is attached at the dress to make that bow at the back. So I'm going to take a long strip. This strip, because I want it to be very long, I'm going to be using 36 inches. I want the bow at the back to form very well and the rope to be long. Now for the width, I'm going to be using 8 inches. So by the time I fold it into two, it's going to end up giving me 4 inches. Next, what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to take any part of the end. You can either take that other one or this one, which I'm doing. So I'm going to give it a cut just to give it that angle, that sharp angle you see at the tail of the dress of this rope. So this is how I'm going to cut it. You just curve this vertical line to give it that angle shape. Next, for this one in front, I'm going to, this other end, I'm going to be cutting off. I'm going to be marking 2 inches because I don't want it, by the time you're attaching it to the bodice, if you are using this 4 inches, it will be too long and almost getting to the armhole. So it's not something you need. So I'm going to cut 2 inches away and then narrow it till I get to that 4 inches. This is the line you are seeing. So the video explains much better. So I'm going to be cutting off this part. So by the time I'm attaching this rope to the bodice, the rope will not be extending to my armhole region. It will just sit perfectly in the right position. Next, I'm going to be sewing this part. So the way my hands are going, illustrating in the video, that is the part I'm going to be sewing all through. So after sewing it, this is how it looks like. Next, I'm going to be bringing the right part inward. I'm going to be bringing it outward, I'm going to go ahead to bring out the right part. So this part I sew will be inside. So I've gone ahead to do it, and this is how it is. I'm going to iron it for it to lie flat. So these are the 2 rope I'll be working with. So this is it. This is how it looks like when it's being placed together. As you can see, the angle is giving what it ought to give. So I'm going to be joining it with the bodice now. So firstly, I'm going to be attaching my velvet ribbon. So I'm going to attach it in such a way that it is 1 inch above the hem part. So that is how I'm going to be placing this ribbon. You can use your pin to guide you so that it doesn't move. Next, I'm going to take this rope we just formed, and then I'm going to be placing it, as you can see from the video. So this is how I'm going to place it before adding my back bodice as well. So right side facing the right side. So I'm going to sew according to the allowance I gave initially. Next, I'm also going to do the same thing on this other side. I'm going to place the rope as well right there, and then place my back bodice and also sew the side seam as well. So this is it after sewing the side seam and attaching the 2 rope and the velvet. So next, I'm going to take my lining part, which I've already attached earlier. Next, I'm going to be sewing the neckline region and the armhole. So for the back part, I'm going to leave 1 inch away. I'm not going to sew because of my zipper. So when I get to the shoulder part, I'm not going to sew the shoulder. I'm going to leave it. So I'm going to sew the armhole as well. When I get to the shoulder again, I'm not going to sew. I'm going to sew my neckline. So it's just the neckline and the armhole I'll be sewing. So I've gone ahead to do it. As you can see, the shoulder parts are open. I did not sew the shoulder parts. Next, I'm going to notch all the parts I sew and then I'm going to bring it the right side. So this is it. This is how it looks like. The shoulder is open, as you can see. This is the inside part of it, and as you can see, it's neatly finished. Now I'm going to do the shoulder part so that it's going to be neatly finished as well. So I'm going to be taking the front part of the shoulder and I'm going to be slipping it inside the back part. The video explains it much better, and I'm going to bring that front part out from this back part. As you can see from the video, I had to zoom it so you'll be able to see it properly. So I'm going to align it so that they are the same, and then I'm going to sew it together. So this is it after attaching the shoulder together. This is it on the right side and this is it on the inner part. As you can see, it's neatly finished. Next, I'm going to be showing you how it looks like the inward part of this bodice. You can see it's neatly finished. I'll be proceeding to the skirt parts. Firstly, I'm going to be folding this damask fabric in such a way, in a bias format, to cut a fillet. Now I have a detailed tutorial on how to cut a fillet in this manner. It's already on my channel and I'll put the link up. So this is the first layer of the skirt, which is the damask fabric. For the waist measurements, I'm extending the measurements extra. I'm adding extra. I'm making it 10 inches, as you can see from the video. So by the time I open it up, it will be 40 inches because I intend gathering the waist measurement. So I'm going to gather that 40 inches to the original waist measurements. Next, from that 10 inches, I'm going to mark 17 inches. That is how long I want the skirt part, the first layer, to be. So after doing that, I'm going to cut it off. So after cutting it off, this is how it looks like when it's opened up. Next, what I'm going to be doing, the down part, which is the hem, I'm going to be using my crinoline to tuck it in. So I'm going to place my crinoline in such a way that it will be like the way you use bias to turn over the hem part. So that is how I'm going to infuse my crinoline to the hem part of it. I'm done attaching the crinoline, as you can see from the video. So next, what I'm going to be doing, the waist part, I'm going to gather it. So this is it after gathering the waist part of it. Next, for the second layer, which will be the two knit, I've gone ahead to cut out the length, which will be 15 inches in length, and the width will be 8 yards. I've cut 3 of these parts, so 3 of these 15 inches in length in 8 yards. Next, what I'll be doing, I'll be gathering them separately. So I gathered 2 together. So this is 2 pieces, 8 yards each, while this is 1 piece, which is 8 yards. So this is the second layer. Next, this will serve as the lining part. So I've also gone ahead to cut it in a fillet manner, as you can see from the video, the same way I cut the damask. Now I'll be joining all of them together with the bodice. So the first layer, which is the damask, I'm going to attach it first to the bodice. So I'm going to spread the gathers evenly till I get to the end. So if you want yours to be more full, you have to add more yardage. This is 1 yard of fabric, so you can use more than one to get that fullness if you want it to be that full. So the next step to do is to attach my 2 knits to give that effect of a ball dress. So as you can see, the lining of the bodice is not yet attached. The skirt part, I will attach that later. What I'll be doing now, I'll be attaching my zipper to this dress. So I'm going to turn the dress to the back. I'm going to seal up the 2 points, that is the back, the left and the right. I'm going to join them together, the damask fabric and the 2 knits, and then attach my zipper. So right here, I'm done attaching the zipper part, and as you can see, I have not cut the zipper length because I'm going to seal it up with my lining to give me that perfect finishing. So I'm turning the dress inward. So I'm going to be attaching the skirt part of the lining of the bodice. So that is what I'm doing right here in the video. So I'm going to attach the skirt parts to the bodice. This is the lining part. So I'm going to start from one point till I get to the other point. So this is it after attaching the skirt parts to the bodies of the lining. Now I'm going to show you how to cut off that excess zipper length. So I'm going to turn it the way you saw it on the video, and then I'm going to sew the neckline. I'm going to complete that neckline and then cut off that excess zipper. Then I'm also going to seal it up the way I'm illustrating with my hands and do the other parts as well. So after sewing, I'm going to join these other two and sew them together. At the end, this is how it will turn out to look like. This is how the inside part of the dress will be. So this is how to achieve a perfect finishing for a dress. Next, I'll be flipping the dress over to the right side. I'm about to create the fancy bow that is attached at the waistline in front of the dress. So I'm going to take my velvet ribbon. Next, I'll be crisscrossing it. I'll make sure that the two ends are equal. After crisscrossing it, I'm just going to take that midpoint and fold it in to give me this bow. So I'm going to place it at the midpoint of this dress, and we are done with the tutorial of this dress. So if you've watched this far, please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you are yet to. Bye.